It doesn't take away from your money because you like Jay-Z, because you like fucking John Doe. It doesn't stop your bread. That's the misconception.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If we could support each other in that capacity from an independent standpoint, I mean, Universal's no longer needed, and it's time to let them be out of here. There's no need for a record label, in my opinion, today.
Word. Agreed.
Another big artist that you guys had on Murder Inc. was Ashanti. What happened with that situation to
Sure.
your best recollection, Ashanti and Murder Inc. situation?
Everything was great. We sold a ton of fucking records. And, you know, Ashanti, that's Baby Girl, that's Bon Bon. Shout out Bon Bon, you know what I'm saying? Again, what people misunderstand or talk about all the time, which I'm pretty sure you're alluding to, is Irv and her had a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to interview your ex-girlfriend. How about that for a response?
Hell nah.
You know, it's all how you handle. If Irv handled things the way I'm talking, it would be so simple. Like,
right.
Oh, you want to talk about Ashanti? Let me go interview your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend, and let's see what they say about you.
Word.
Because even that, she won't say nothing bad, is what I'm trying to point out. It was a relationship that again got volatile. But don't ever discount the fact we went through a federal trial. Universal, our partner, cooperating against us, not supporting our projects or our artists on the label. So if we put out an album, she's not getting promoted properly or anything because they're not supporting. Just let's not discount none of that shit, and let's deal with facts, please. Like, so when people ask me about Shani, she just called me the other day, like, we good money. Irv and her had a relationship. Irv and her have a love-hate relationship after they've been through. She could never hate Irv in the sense of he made her. He created that woman. She was not the artist she was until Irv put his hands on her and gave him his production and producing acumen. Irv is a beast. One of one. And I know it's my brother and people could discount it, but I could put up numbers and prove it. Again, I talk facts. I don't say it just because he's my brother. I say it because it's real. And I could argue it to anyone. What he's done, the amount of money generated for the artists he brought to the business, he's bar none. It's only Dr. Dre that got a fucking hand in, you know what I'm saying? That could talk what he's done from the impression of all the artists he's brought to the table. You know, it's very and then with Ashanti, again, there's always love and wishing her the best. Now, Irv, no matter what he says, there's a part of him that's his baby. It's his creation. You want to tell me, just using your own common sense, that you're telling me he would hate on that? Never. He wants to see that baby thrive and grow, and then he could always stand on it like, I built that, I made that. And he did. Everything she went through, he taught her everything. She was a baby. You know what I'm saying? She was a baby in the game. He taught her everything. And then the relationship outside of the music relationship went into a whole nother aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a very young girl with an old dude too. Don't ever discount that, right? So she's inexperienced or not knowing things and you know, Irv was out doing his 1-2 still. Mm-hmm. So what do you expect? Shit is bad.
Ain't gonna be mad.
But it's simple to understand. It's not more or less. And I promise you, there is nothing but love and admiration when it gets down to it. No, neither one is like, don't do good or hate that. No, they just don't want to interact with each other. They had a volatile relationship.
Absolutely.
I was there.
Say that one more time.
I always make jokes with Ashanti saying she owes me money for therapy because I was her therapist and hers. They would call me. They'd be at separate hotels. They'll come over here and talk, and I'm in the middle of it.
She fine wine now though. Salute to Ashanti. Salute to Irv too, man. Y'all, you know one thing about you brothers, it's always and we've been reaching out to you two since we started this podcast. You and your brother Irv, and we're real honored to have you on right now to talk to you. Yeah. Talk about your upbringing and how you guys are so focused and driven, and just have that kind of aura about y'all that y'all won't allow anything to let y'all lose.
Nothing else. You know, we're first and foremost we're family orientated. My dad just passed from cancer or pneumonia because of the medicine they gave him for pneumonia. And 80, you know, what he did, and it's 8 of us. It's not just me and Irv. It's 8 of us. But what he did and what he raised was men. And there's an honor in the code of how we move and how we look at people again and what we want. I want the best for everybody. That's no lie. If you're trying to harm me, I would never want the best for you, right? I'm going to protect mine, and I do it for my family. So it's bigger than me. It's bigger than her. So when you say you see that drive, it's really because I want to honor my mom and dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to honor my kids and give them my ceiling is their floor.
Mm.
Okay, so understand that. So the higher I go, the higher they start.
Word.
And that's my motivation and drive. And me and Irv, we understand that. And then once we get information and knowledge, we didn't go to school. This is all from learning the hard way and just listening and talking to people and forming opinions and ideas and trying shit and missing and trying it again, get knocked down and stand up. All of those sound like bullshit, and that's exactly what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, get down, knock down 9 times, stand up 10. That's 1,000%.
Word.
You know, Jay, we would have so many conversations in a lot of songs. I've been listening to some old Jay-Z songs, and Lucky Me is the song that I'm referring to. If you never knees in the dirt, you understand? I'm gonna go out on my feet.
Yeah.
And that's because we used conversations with Jay and Rockefeller. It'd be Murder Inc. Rockefeller. We just talking on some real live man shit, like grown man shit. But Jay put it in song. So when I listen back, it brings me to understand the values and principles that we was all originated from, that we stood on. You know what I'm saying? You know, he talks about, he said if he go to court, he said, I'm not trying to be tough, but it was him or me. That's some real shit, yo. When you listen to the words of Lucky Me, go ahead, everybody listen to this podcast. Go listen to Lucky Me. He said, and it'll be sad if I don't get to see my godson Boogie, Sonny, and Primo. Sonny's Irv's, just so y'all understand. Primo is a big son, and Bugs is Dame's son. We was family. That's all family. Jay is family to this day. Never changed. Been through too much. You know what I'm saying? This is all family shit. Never could change. And he knows. You know, I had a conversation with him. I said, Irv is my brother. I said, but Irv's your brother. He'll die for you. Just know that. He looked at me and shook his head. He got it. Because that wasn't at a good time. That was something that I would talk about. That was a bad time when I said it. Him and Irv went through something. But I let him know in family we fight. But it don't mean we ain't still right here.
Damn.
What do you think about
he understood. Like me and Jay, I love Jay. Like I said, when I look at him now and talk to him, I'm in awe. He's the chosen one. He's the golden child, baby. He's the one. Say whatever anyone want to say. He's the one.
Definitely. What do you think about him and Jay-Z and Dame Dash's relationship as of today, and how Jay-Z kind of went his own separate way?
I love Dame. Shout out to Dame. That's my brother too. Dame is my brother. Hey, Dame is my brother too. When I talk that Rockefeller, it's not just Jay, it's everyone in Rockefeller. It was not, you know what I'm saying? It's not just DMX, it's DY, everybody in Rough Riders. That was us. Irv created all three. They had a big part in all three of those things. That's all family. And we extended it as such. We moved as such. Now mistakes was made, but at the end of the day, we move as such. Like family, you make a mistake as with your family members, it's okay. You fix it and move on, and you only get stronger from
it. Yeah, that's good to know. Because it seemed like at the time, I mean, there was a lot of competition, obviously going on. Murder Inc., Rockefeller, Rough Riders. How did you guys stay so, as a tight knit family when you guys were essentially in competition with each other?
Shit, we all competitive. We crazy? We all competitive. Back then, that was the fun. Listen to me, that was the fun in it. Like, let me tell you something. This is true shit. We would bust in on sessions, and back then it was DATs. Or, we would have a DAT of all our music. And we would bust in on niggas' sessions and be like, what? Play this. And just start playing our shit and then leave. Fuck their whole session up. And Swiss did it to us. Jay did it to us. We did it to them. It was part of the competition. Like, we got to make better records. But that's what made the history. You understand? We would do it with Puff. Puff was also part of the family. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? Puff was part of the family. We'd go in there and we bust in and play music. He played music and we talking ideas. And Irv is a monster. Like, Irv is a monster. I don't take credit for all of that. I was just part of it in the experience of it. Irv is the creative that came up with all the music, all the concepts. All I did was help him make it happen.
Oh man, appreciate
so when
these.
he was doing all that, and I'm right there with him, you know, and I'm right there with him. It was just a great time, man. Music was alive, man. We would go to other people that wasn't family and kill their whole dreams and hopes when they heard the music we coming with, because we like, and then you know, back then it was like when you release it, because that's a big deal, because you don't want to get in the way if we're gonna have a big release and you were less of an artist. So our friends, we would tell them to release. If you wasn't like our friend, we would never tell you when we release it, so we might end up crushing your ass.
Smash your ass.
But it's all competition. It was a friendly competition. You know what I'm saying? Right. This is it's a competitive sport. This hip hop shit. It's no one sitting back and he's the best and that's it. Everyone's trying to get Drake.
It's the truth.
Right?
True.
Even Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Even Lil Wayne, even Nicki, his family. They trying to get him. He's just better.
Yeah, and sell better. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up with these artists? I don't know if you peeped it on IG. They sign an artist. If you're looking for an artist, you're looking for this. We got a lot of people in our inboxes hitting us up talking about, yo, these niggas are scamming up and down. And I'm like, yo, we don't know enough to say enough. But now that we got you on,
who's looking though?
What you mean? Oh, like art, like I'm
talking, who is looking for the artist?
All right, like for example, we seen Bow Wow, he put it up. We just seen Game put it up. And I'm not saying that these individuals are scamming in particular, but we've seen a lot of artists put these artists in our inbox saying that they're scammers, that they're asking people to sign up or get on a mixtape and offering money and not providing what they're offering or what they're asking and just taking money from.
So in my opinion, I understand. In my opinion, it's twofold, right? It's not just clear as they're scammers, right? I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is maybe someone around them is looking for a profit, a fast come up, because they know artists will throw them $1,000, $500, whatever they're asking for, real quick, and then you'll make a few racks, whatever it may be, real quick. You know, and I would only say, like, to the people going there, they should see what deal do they have, because most of those artists you mentioned don't have a deal. So, see, you got to do your homework too as the consumer. Don't just accept what they give you, right? Fact check. If they have a label situation, yes, they could walk into a label. That is absolutely. And I will sit there and tell you, even if they walked into a label, the label's not just running to give them a deal, because the times have changed. Yeah. So labels give deals based on numbers and response audience today. They don't care about your music like they used to. You know, we would get a deal based on they heard a song and a label like, I could market that and make it money. Let's get this guy a deal. Let's go. Today, they don't give a fuck about that. They care about the reaction of that song. Did you put it out? How many people's looking at it? How many people's listening to it? How many people's fucking with you? So then now they could mitigate their risk. You know, they could go and start looking into business from a business perspective to say, okay, it makes sense to give this guy $1 million. So if you're an artist trying to get that deal, understand that that's exactly what they have to still do with you. Now, if they have their own label with a deal behind it, and that's what they ask, and then you won't get scammed. Just ask a question. You might get the answer. It's simple as saying, hey, what label are you with? And what does the winner get? I don't want to just sign to you and I don't know you got a deal, because then now you got to shop me to get a deal. Now, you might want that also. There's going to be artists that want that. They want the affiliation. They want to be next to that artist, and then cool. But there'll be the ones that don't want that. I'm a transparent guy, so what I try to do with my company, Adventure Music, is be as transparent as possible. I want you to understand, and then look in the mirror and make your decision. Right. I don't want to make a decision for anybody. I don't own it. When it's Murder Inc. and I have an opinion because I own it, different. I'm going to say, hey, I like that or I don't like that. But when it's your shit, I don't want to tell you about your music. You own your music. You do what you want. Make it, figure out your game plan, and then you need help executing. I'll tell you what you could do and who you could get to, and then you pay and you could get to them and try and execute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just got one last question for you, man. Today, we appreciate, this powerful interview today. A lot of people don't know that you became a millionaire in real estate before you got into music. Can you talk about that for our audience?
Oh, sure. Before, when we were struggling, the reality is my mother was throwing me, and she wanted to throw Irv out the house because we wasn't making money. We wasn't doing nothing. We wasn't going to school, and she's like, I'm not raising no bums.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to her again. It's something Irv doesn't even know. So this summer, I never even spoke to Irv about. But I went to my mother and said, "Don't bother Irv. I'll go get some work." And I did. And I was always building stuff. I swear to this day, I think I built. Those pull-out basketball courts.
Yep.
Yeah.
You roll and you put.
Yeah.
I promise you, I was the first one to ever make that. I built a pull-out basketball court on my block. And I'm sure someone who invented that and got the credit for seeing that pullout that I made and went and patented it and made other way. But I made that pullout basketball court way before there was pullout basketball courts. And then I noticed as soon as I did that, because I used to pull it out and play right in front of the house, I noticed that I started seeing them everywhere. So what I'm trying to say is I always was very good with my hands as far as building. I don't have a picture of these things, and I wish it was today because I wish I had a picture. I built a radio. Back in the day, we used to have a big boom box, big speakers and carry Radio Raheem. What I'm saying? I was Radio Raheem, but I made my own. We didn't have no money, so that's why you're hearing me make all of this shit. And I would take scrap wood and make shit. And like I made the basketball court, we stole the rim and it stole the net. And then I built the backboard. I took wood and made a backboard and made the stand and the whole thing, had a lot of wood. And I made a radio because we didn't have a radio. So I went and made a radio. My boy used to steal cars. He had all these car radios. So I took a car radio, some speakers, some 6x9 speakers. I put an amp inside it. And I literally made a radio that was fucking loud as fuck. And again, anyone that went to Bayside High School with me would have seen me carrying it. But I don't have any. And if anyone from Bayside High School has a picture, contact me at Chris Gotti at 187 and send it to me. I want to see it. I promise you, I've been trying to get a picture because people don't believe I built the radio. But the whole football team, I used to play football. The whole football team knows, all my boys, because they used to tell me to bring that shit because it was so loud. And one of my players, Jason was my lineman. He was a lineman. He used to always say, play Turn It Up, which was a Kool Moe Dee record. And like blast that shit, and that's his favorite record. Get him hyped. But I used to have a homemade radio, and I had it working on batteries or a plug. You just had to switch the switch, whichever one you was doing. So I always was good with my hands. My sister was in construction, working on the inside for a company called Prue Construction, and she was learning. She learned the inside. She's an accountant, but she learned how to do bids. I'm doing city work. I wasn't doing like homes at the time. I'm not talking about that. I was doing city work. So I was doing parks, schools, roads, things like that. And then you have to bid. And it's all city work, which means it's union. We're a black-owned company. Our specialty was concrete. And we started bidding on jobs and getting jobs. We had a partnership with a guy named Kenny Frolic who owned the Gateway Demolition, which Gateway didn't do general contracting, just building stuff. They only ripped shit down. But we convinced them to put up the bonds because we didn't have the money for the bonds. So the bonds is very important because if a job is $3 million, we have to have bonds with value to $3 million to get the job. And we didn't have that. So we did a deal for 50-50 with Kenny, 50-50 on all the profits. And he put up the money. And we bid jobs, we started getting jobs, and the jobs got bigger and bigger. Our biggest job was over $17 million. And we at one time was doing over $40 million in construction work. So I learned how to operate every machine, everything. And then, me and my sister were partners, and we were making good money, and we were funding Irv. Then Irv got hot and shit changed. And then that's when I made, I was with Irv in the music. I was with Irv in the music from the reason he started music. I DJ'd, I had the equipment. He started getting on it and got really nice. And that's really the inception of how he got started in music. So, once we got in it, we wasn't making money, and then my mother came. I was like, "Fuck, I gotta go get some money," and then that's how it evolved into that. But I did construction for 13 years, and we did. I mean, my jobs are still all over New York City, Brooklyn, Bronx was my main borough. I did so much work in the Bronx, so much work in Brooklyn, Queens, a few jobs in Staten Island. But those were my main jobs, was those boroughs in that order. And we did park, schools, not highways, bridges, highways and roads. Like, and Kennedy High School, there's a school right next to Kennedy called 230. We built that whole school there, the whole street, the whole thing. And that's in the Bronx. Oakley's car wash was right there. So I fuck with Oak. Shout out to Oakley. From the Knicks, Oakley, just so you know. Yeah, Charles Oakley, yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to see him all the time. I remember one time I was operating a machine. I ripped up the power lines and shut down all the power over there. His car wash had to close down. Yeah, it was crazy. It wasn't my fault. See, when you get specs, the city has to tell you what all their lines are. So once I ripped up the ground, they didn't tell me there's any power lines here, so I could dig. And they was wrong. And it wasn't close. It was far off. It was out of hate for all the businesses downside.
Right. Damn.
You understand? If I shut down the power and no business could operate, we have to pay for that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Lost business revenue, but we didn't have to because it wasn't my fault.
Inspirational as hell, man.
But yeah, construction was definitely, it's one of my biggest regrets. I didn't keep up the business. I always say that because I had such a good time doing the work. I enjoyed it, was making money, and then I had a great crew, all black. I'm telling you, these dudes never seen nothing like us. They didn't believe it. All black dudes out there. I did have 2 Italians, old school guys that was super smart with the business of building stuff, and they was loyal as ever to me because I brought them into this environment. But everything else was black. It was crazy. People, do you know about coalitions?
You said coalitions?
Yeah, do y'all know coalitions or no?
No, you got to school us on that.
I heard the term, but
okay, coalitions is, if you was in the mafia would come to your store and tell you need protection, but you're really getting protection from them. If you didn't pay them, they break your windows. So the coalition is from that same thing, but it was for blacks, it was for minority, black and Spanish. So if we was a job in Brooklyn, and we're in the middle of the hood, we're in Marcy Projects, doing doors. Sorry, Red Hook Projects, doing doors. The coalition, there's a group of guys that would come together in a bus, a school bus. It ain't a little group. This is a big group, 50 or more. Pull up on that school bus and tell us, put your shovels down, because they want jobs, because you're employing people in their community. So you have to have X percentage of minority workers on your jobs. So whenever I would tell them it's my company, they never believed. I was literally working. So I never looked like the boss. I was working because it's my company. I want the most. I could do the work. I'm going to work and do it, and that's it. So they would tell me, and they never believe me. My sister would be there. They never believe it. She'd be working. Tina would be in the hole digging just like the rest of the men. Wow. And then they pull up and see that, they never believe it. Then when they realize, like, all my people that was working for me is my dudes from the hood that I gave jobs and taught them a trade and gave them experience, right? And they're with me, man. It used to get crazy, but then they got to know me and my sister, and then they would pull up and like, oh man, it's Chris. Oh man, and I'm like, because they couldn't get jobs with us because I'm a minority company and I'm employing all my minority workers. I said, if you want to go talk to the GC, get the job. I am the GC. You got to go to this job. They don't have that. They don't have, you know what I mean? So the coalitions, there should be a movie on coalitions. That's how deep it was back then. A lot of those guys went to jail because of what they was doing.
Damn. Powerful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We appreciate you, man. We know you got to get up out of here tonight, man. We got another interview coming up ourselves, man. Chris Gotti in the building. Will you go ahead and let everybody know?
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me here, man.
Can Larry drop your social media handles, please, if you may, where people can find you?
Okay. You see, I posted it on my picture. I seen it up there. It's Chris Gotti 187 because it's still murder. In case y'all think it's still not murder, it's still murder.
Indeed, man. Well, we salute to you, brother.
But it's all good. You know, but Adventure Music, go to my other company, adventuremusic.com. If you're an independent artist, sign up, become a member. All I do is empower independent artists to help them with their careers, show them how to get this money. No matter how good or bad you are, music done right makes money. And I show you how to do it.
Indeed. Chris Gotti in the building on the podcast. Powerful interview. Salute. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
You too, bro.